Welcome to the Uncultured Opinions podcast. This episode, however, is a little bit different from the other ones we've done. Uh, it's only me. It's only Brent on this episode, and it's not about movies, which is our normal criteria. We're technically not a movie podcast, just as much as that's what we tend to kind of like push ourselves towards, and we definitely are primarily movies. But we've been talking about opening ourselves up to more content and stuff in the future, and I thought it'd be a good idea during this whole quarantine thing, everything going on, which I apologize if you haven't read the socials or anything. That's why we haven't put out an episode in a while. But during this whole quarantine thing, through the pandemic, I figured it'd be kind of a good thing since I've been playing a lot more video games than usual, especially new releases, trying to like build up other like video game podcasts I have, or trying to get back into streaming or YouTube video essays and stuff like that. Sorry, my dog's in the background. You'll probably hear him. But I've been trying to play more games, so I figured why not express some of my opinions on games on my main podcast. This podcast, the Uncultured Opinions podcast, is probably one of my favorite things to work on. So I figured why not share my opinions on some of these games with you guys, give you some opinions of just have a good time. If you've played these games, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and just talk to us. Express your opinion, and I'll be in the comments. I'll talk to you guys. We can kind of discuss some of these games if you've played them. So without further ado, sorry, I'm not used to being on microphone. It's been so long, man. Without further ado, I'll be talking about Doom Eternal, which you read the title, but this game is fantastic going out the gate. And I'll be frank, I didn't write any notes or anything like I should have, so going off the top of my head, I might repeat some of the points a few times, but man, this game is fantastic. I went in as a huge Doom fan. I really enjoyed Doom 2016. It was probably my second favorite game of all time. 2016 was. And then I had always really liked the old Doom games. I wouldn't say I grew up on them, but I definitely remember playing them as younger, about 360 era. So I was around like 12 or something. So I didn't grow up on them, but definitely in my adolescent years, I played a little bit of them and really enjoyed them. Like I said, going into this one, a huge fan, really excited. Didn't play as much as I wanted to the first weekend because Animal Crossing came out, and I also was having fun with that. And it's just a fun, chill game that I could just sit in my bed and play. With Doom, I had to get on my PC, sit at my desk, whatever. But once I finally did, man, I was blown away. Doom Eternal is one of the best experiences in video games I've had in such a long time, man. This game constantly forces you to switch up tactics and just do different things that normally you wouldn't do. And at first you play the game and it feels very restrictive. And you're like, bro, I don't want to do this. Like, I am not trying to remember all of these systems. I never will remember these. I don't know why they're giving them to me, because I'm not going to remember how to do them. But by the end of the game, you're in such a rhythm with it that you know that, okay, the whiplash are running around. I got to use this ice grenade. Oh, there's a group of zombies right here. Let's just get my flame belcher, get some armor. And then once you get like later like upgrades and stuff, you get to where my tactic always, once I got upgrades with weapon mods, armor suits, stuff like that, like the Praetor tokens, like one of my favorite tactics was to just get a group of zombies, or really any enemy, but like the zombies and the soldiers specifically. You get them as a group and you throw the ice grenade there, and you flame belch them, and then you start hitting them with either the machine gun or the plasma rifle, and you get so much armor, you get so much health, but B, once you fully upgrade your ice grenade, they take more damage in ice than they do without it. So that's like one of the like the best upgrades you can do. But it's stuff like that where it's like it doesn't break the game either if you do that, because you still have to like wait for it to charge and stuff like that. But it's a nice little, because they don't tell you can mix all those things together. So it's nice when you come up with those kind of like combinations. Oh, excuse me. when you come up with those combinations by yourself and kind of figure out, I can do this to do this to use this thing to do this and do all that. It's fantastic, man. The difficulty is spiked up immensely from 2016, but I was okay with it. Like, I was really enjoying the difficulty. I found myself wanting challenges, if that like makes sense. I'm not a good gamer at all. I'm not. I feel like I'm decently good at arena shooters, and I feel like I'm pretty good at Doom, but I'm not a very good gamer. I'm not a From Software guy. I love Sekiro and I love Bloodborne, but I probably won't beat them as much as I wish I could, you know? I'm just not that good at that kind of stuff, at difficult games. But I found myself craving the difficulty. I'm probably going to do a ultra-violence playthrough of this game. I really enjoyed every bit of difficulty they tossed my way. I played on normal, never lowered my difficulty, and it was still pretty difficult on normal. It was such a blast, man. I found myself, I went on a couple buddy of mine's podcasts, Respawn Aim Fire. Go check them out. They're really good. But I went on their podcast to talk about Animal Crossing and then obviously Doom Eternal. And then Chad on there was talking about the Marauders and how they just fuck shit up. You know, and I had heard a lot of reviewers talk about how the Marauders need to be nerfed. They need to be taken out of the game. They're like a nuisance. And I do not understand that opinion whatsoever. This is probably the most controversial opinion I'm gonna have in this whole like review, and it's probably the one hill I want to die on. The Marauders are not difficult at all. That's one thing. Like, I found myself every time someone would be like, "Oh, fuck the Marauders," I wanted to fight them. And like I said, like I prefaced, I'm not a good gamer. I'm usually not that good. I get my ass handed to me in online shooters. I'm not that good. And I found myself wanting to face Marauders. And so by the time I finally did, yeah, he kicks your ass for a few times. But once you figure out his pattern, which I pretty much figured out, I kind of figured it out a little bit, enough to get me by the first fight. And then the second fight, I had a lot of trouble up until the end. It was up until dying probably 5 times in the second fight. Because the first fight, I didn't necessarily figure out the pattern. I mostly just kind of like slight pattern, you know, enough to kind of finally beat him. It wasn't until dying around like 7 times or so the second Marauder that the pattern started to click in my head of what you needed to do. And a lot of reviewers' complaints about the Marauder is that, oh, it completely contradicts everything Doom's taught you so far, when it doesn't. You still can't sit still you can't sit in one place with the Marauder. And I heard a lot of reviewers talk about, oh, you essentially have to sit there and wait for him to attack you. No, because he'll fucking run up to you with a super shotgun, or he'll like throw his axe at you if you're standing still. You still can't do that. You just have to be mid-range from him. You can still run around, which you have to run around with him still. You have to run around, but you have to get mid-range from him, and then he'll start to run towards you, and you just hit him with a super shotgun, and then quickly go to the ballista, hit him again. You can get 2 of those shots in. If I don't know what it is on controller, but on mouse and keyboard on PC, Q is your weapon wheel. So if you just press Q, it just takes you to your previously used weapon. So you can use the super shotgun one time and then switch to the ballista. But then next time you have to use the ballista, you can just press your button instead of having to do the wheel. You just press it and you do it again. Even before I figured out the ballista, even if you just do the super shotgun every time, it's insanely easy. But the ballista makes it a lot better. It's the easiest pattern. You get mid-range from him, his eyes glow green, and you shoot him with a super shotgun, and then you can quickly pull out the ballista and shoot him again too if you feel like doing that. It's insanely easy. I think the only thing that was hard about it was the fodder. really. The fodder was the most difficult thing in the Marauder fight. Because he definitely can fuck you up. Like, you, even with that kind of tactic, it's still very easy to almost die. Like, I still don't think you can beat it without getting health from the fodder. But once, I'm just going to say it, like, once I figured out a good pattern for him, I never died to a Marauder again. They were insanely easy. They didn't break up the fight at all. Yeah, I might have saw a Marauder. I'm like, oh shit, a Marauder, because I wasn't expecting it. Or sometimes they run in when you're dealing with a couple Mancubuses, a couple Cacodemons, and maybe an Arachnotron or something. And then sometimes a Marauder will show up. I'm like, fuck, I wasn't ready for it. But they're so easy to outrun and just not deal with if you're looking for fodder or something to get some ammo or some health, that it doesn't become a problem anymore. And then another key thing I see people talk about is the dog. The dog doesn't appear unless you hit his shield. If his shield is up and you hit him, that's when he spawns the dog. I've had Marauder fights where I've never spawned the dog. I've never had the dog spawned on me. Because if you just do the pattern, that's all you need to do is do the pattern. And the Marauder is a piece of cake. I'm honestly looking forward to an Ultraviolence fight with the Marauder, because he was a piece of cake on normal once you figured out the pattern. And I get it. It's like, they don't specifically state the pattern to you, though they kind of do. They tell you, like, wait for his eyes to go green and then shoot him. But they don't, like, lay it out for you. But even then, it's one of those, I feel like he's an enemy that you should know you can't do the same way. And I like that there's an enemy in the game that forces me to not completely throw out everything I've learned, like people are saying, but forces me to switch it up a little bit. It switches up a little bit in terms of, because every enemy has a pattern. Every enemy in this game has a weak point or whatever. The Marauder is just the one that you need to do the pattern to beat him, if that makes sense. He's a mini boss. He's a recurring mini boss. So he has a pattern, but it's not the difficult. You just have to learn it. You have to stop for a minute and just analyze the situation. You have to think about, okay, if I get too close to him, he's going to shoot me with a shotgun. If I stand too far away from him, he's going to throw the axe at me. If I shoot his shield, he's going to spawn the dog, which I get. Admittedly, that's not an easy thing to know unless you're just not shooting the shield, but after a while you kind of start to learn that. And then also think about it like this: he is you. And I was watching a video and they bring up that point, and it was a really good point. He is you. So think about what you would do, because people are like, I don't, like, even what the video said, people are like, I don't know what a shotgun range is. What's your shotgun range? Like, he is, and that's what the video said. I'm just saying that a lot because I don't want to plagiarize. But he is you. So think about what your range is, what you do, and that's essentially him. You have to fight him like you're fighting another Slayer. And so just stop and analyze for a second. When his eyes go green, that's when you pop. And then just run around a little. I'm spending way too much time on a Marauder. But it's the one aspect that I felt people are very, very wrongly criticizing. There are a couple things you can criticize in this game, but the Marauder I don't feel like is one of them, just because I don't feel like people take the 5 minutes necessary to kind of analyze a pattern. Like, I just want to keep repeating the fact that I'm not a good gamer. I'm usually very bad at patterns because of my ADHD. I just want to put that out there to say, like, I'm not a get good type of gamer. I'm really not. I suck. So I just want to, like, put it out there that it's not that hard to kind of look at it and analyze. I don't understand how people will run at him with the same thing over and over, knowing it doesn't work, instead of taking a step back for a couple seconds and analyzing. If I do this, he does this. If I do this, he does this as well. So, but the game tells me if I do this, that's how I get him. So if you do that and then maybe stay away from him a little bit, shoot him, and then wait for him to do his thing. I don't know. Either way, moving on. I found the level design to be really good. I don't have much to say about it, but the level design was really solid. I enjoyed almost all of the arenas, I think. Most of them are pretty solid. The Slayer gates were pretty fun. I really enjoyed the Slayer gates. The enemy variety was pretty good. It's so tired. I'm running out of like very detailed things to say. But they brought a lot of like enemies back from a lot of the Doom games, like the zombies and the soldiers, which I can't remember if the soldiers were the shield guys in 2016. I don't think so. I think they were replaced with I think they were a different type of demon. So it's nice seeing the soldiers back. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the zombies were back. And then the Archviles. God, I hated the Archviles. They fucking sucked, man. I didn't see the summoner. Was the summoner in this? I really don't remember. I remember talking to my friend who beat the game already before me because I've been so busy with stuff. I had my girlfriend come down, so I was just hanging out with her. And he was talking about, I was like, oh man, I hate the summoner. I was like, damn, the summoner's in the game? So I was looking for it. I think he meant the Archvile, but I was looking, I was like, damn, because I thought the summoner was in some like pre-release material as well. So I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just don't remember the summoner in the game, but there was the Archvile, and fuck, I hate the Archvile. Like a BFG shot doesn't kill him. Maybe if you get his health down and then shoot him with the BFG. The BFG like brings his health down a lot, but it doesn't like kill him, which kind of sucks. So I don't know. The Archvile fucking sucked. That's all I can say. The story was really good. I know people go into a Doom game not expecting a story or not needing or wanting a story, but this one was really solid, man. I love Doom lore. Doom lore is just one of the most interesting lore, in my opinion, just down to the Slayer and like everything else. I'm getting a tattoo soon once this pandemic's over of the Mark of the Doom Slayer. I just find it so cool and really, really badass. But I know a lot of people don't think the story is necessary, and I get it, but it was one of the things I looked forward to. Couple that with the third-person cutscenes they put into this one is so good. I loved stopping and just watching the cutscenes and analyzing the stuff that happens. And I don't want to spoil the story, but they start to kind of go into a direction of tying things together and kind of going into a backstory a little bit. Not much. It's not a spoiler. It's not like too much or anything, but it was solid. I really enjoyed a lot of things to do with this one. If they do a third one, which they probably will, I hope we get more story. I really do. I'm fine with the story we got, because it every once in a while couple it in with the like high octane gameplay, and it was really enjoyable. The weapon mods and everything were pretty good. There was a lot of like really interesting like mastery challenges. Like you can get the super shotgun, right? It has the meat hook on it now. This is the one that stood out to me that I really enjoyed. If you do the mastery for the super shotgun, which I think you have to what was it? I can't remember. I think you have to meat hook and kill someone a certain amount of times, and then you end up the meat hook turns on fire. So if you meat hook to somebody and kill them, it like gives you some armor, which is one of the most useful things towards the later game that I really enjoyed. Because for a while I found myself not using the meat hook that much, and so to finally have a use for it, the meat hook is just so good, especially because for the first little bit, I found myself not using it much because it was hard to kind of like just switch to it and get in the minutia of everything. But once you like, okay, you quickly move to the super shotgun, you meat hook, and then you pull out your other shotgun, you hit him, or just pull out what other weapon you need. And you can. There's some times where I used it to maneuver to other platforms and stuff because there was just fodder waiting on the other side, like on the edge. And it was some of the most fun things. I really enjoyed that. Also, couple that with something that's getting a lot of flack too, the platforming. I enjoyed it. Yes, there were a couple platforming sections that were a little annoying that I did find myself dying at too much. But for the most part, I enjoy the platforming. I don't get the argument that it just needs to be high octane action, because there's definitely more of that to offset the kind of platforming sections. I'm just a big believer in letting things breathe, after I get, because this game gets so intense to the point, and I don't want this to come off as cringe because I enjoy this a lot, but I get to the point, there's some battles, like when you face the Doom Hunters for the first time, there's battles like that where I just need to take a breather. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. That Doom Hunter battle was so hard. I didn't die, but it was just like, it was insanely difficult trying not to die, and it lasted so long that by the time it ended, like, I was filled with so much adrenaline and so much, like, stress, I just needed to take a breather, and that's a good thing. Like, I know that sounds cringe, but that's a good thing. Like, I'm not faulting the game. I enjoy that there's times where I get so into it that I need to take a breather after, because it's like, damn, I'm putting so much energy into this game, and I'm actually caring about it. Like, I'm going through the motions. I'm juggling like 15 different systems, and I fucking love it, And then going back to the platforming, I don't want constant action. Like, I enjoy the action. It's amazing. It's what I come to Doom for. But I want those moments of a cutscene or a platforming section to just give myself a breather. Because maybe it's just me playing on like mouse and keyboard. Because after a while, pressing like left shift for my pinky gets really tiring. So I like to let my hands breathe, and the platforming sections are really good for that. They let me just digest what just happened, get some energy back, maybe drink a Coke or something, and just kind of get back into, like, grab, a couple chips or something, and then get back into the action. I really enjoy that. I think games need moments of kind of reflection. I think people want Doom to be action from beginning to end with no breaks. And then I think they'll get it and then say it's repetitive because there's nothing in between to offset that. So I guess the point I'm getting at is I think there are blessings in disguise that people are overlooking, I guess, because they definitely help the gameplay not become so repetitive in this one. I don't know. That's kind of my 2 cents on it. I've enjoyed the platforming a lot, and I don't know. It definitely added for a little bit of quiet to a little bit of a break, a little bit of breather time to the non-stop blood curdling, ripping and tearing action. Also, I really enjoyed how each enemy has you kind of touched on it in the Marauder section, but how each enemy has a weakness and things you have to kind of like look out for. Like the Arachnotron, you have to take out their turret on the top of their head, and then they start charging you more with kind of some melee attacks. The Mancubus, you can take off his arm cannons, like his hand cannons kind of thing. The Revenant, take off the shoulder cannons, kind of stuff like that. There's a lot of kind of things you have to look out for. That's what I'm talking about with juggling 15 systems, because you have the main systems like your Flame Belch, your Glory Kills to get health, your Ice Grenades, Frag Grenades if you use those, Meat Hook if you need it, and stuff like that. Managing all those gameplay systems on top of the combat systems you need, like weak points here, weak points here. Oh, if I shoot the plasma rifle at like shields or something, they'll blow up, and it'll do an AoE kind of thing. I just think a lot of that's really cool. Also, something I really enjoy is the more you shoot a demon, the more like skin and stuff falls off, and the more it's really nice. For one, it's really nice looking. I think it looks really fucking cool. But also, I think it adds a lot to like kind of like a health bar thing. Like when you come up with a Hell Knight or a Baron of Hell, it's really nice to kind of like see the skin start ripping off, so you can tell like how much you beat them. Or if you find actually, I think the Barons of Hell, it's really cool because they start to glow like yellow or orange. I'm colorblind. I can't tell. Yellow, orange more. The more you kill them, and they start to get more fiery. I think that's really cool. And then they have the there's an enemy type they bring back is the tyrants, which are like mini cyber demons, I'd say, and they're cool. Kind of sucks the cyber demon wasn't in it again, but just having the tyrants was pretty neat. But after a while, I started kind of just using my crucible on it, which the crucible is awesome, bro. That last level where you're fighting the final boss, I'm not gonna say, they started to throw. I feel like that final. Again, no spoilers in this review. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review in the future if quarantine keeps getting to me. But they keep the final level is so much better than the final level of 2016, because the final level of 2016 sucked ass, bro. It was really bad. Like there's a lot of cool elements of it, but it got in 2016. It got to the point where you would kill an enemy and you'd immediately see another version. Like you'd kill Mancubus and another Mancubus would spawn right in that same position, right in front of your eyes. Like that's how bad it was. It was just fodder on top of fodder, just respawning the same enemies. It was bad, man. This one has a little bit of that, but not much, because I could see what they're going for, because it's still a boss fight with fodder in it. 2016 was literally just 3 arenas with fodder, you know, before the boss fight. So at least this one, there's a lot of fodder on top of the boss fight, but they still give you enough like health, give you enough fodder to get health. They give you crucible recharges, enough of those, enough blood punch recharges that it doesn't really become a problem. But man, they spawn so many barons of hell. Like you'll kill a baron of hell and another one will kind of spawn in, which you would think I'd be mad about. And for a while I was kind of like, bro, another baron of hell? But then it gets to the point where I would always use the crucible on the baron of hell. Like, bro, I am not trying to like mess with you right now. I gotta take care of the boss. But I found that boss battle to be really cool. There's the boss battle before it, though. Before the final boss, the level before, there's a boss you're fighting that was kind of hyped up. Well, I wouldn't say kind of hyped up, but it was a little kind of easy. I guess they're all semi-easy, but it was a little underwhelming, I guess. It was very color by numbers, I'd say. There's not too much to say about it, but it's just kind of, I don't know. That's all I could really say about it, I guess. It was just very like predictable, but I didn't hate it. It was still kind of fun to go through the motions and everything. I'm running out of things to say, or I'm just kind of like spacing so much that I can't remember. I probably should have took notes. For my next review, I'll do it. And I don't know. So I guess that's my review for Doom Eternal. Sorry, I'm slurring over so many words. Fun fact, I'm not drunk. I'm just very fucking dyslexic. So yeah, Doom Eternal, 10 out of 10, man. I'm not even gonna build up anticipation for the rating. 10 out of 10. Dude, it's so fucking good. I think it's my favorite game I've ever played. I'm still teeter-tottering because Witcher 3 was my favorite game. I think it's Doom Eternal now. I really enjoy this one. It rewards me so much for playing and for getting good and learning the systems and doing everything. I think it's a phenomenal experience. I think people need to play, and if you have the 60 to spend on it, I think it's worth it in every aspect. The soundtrack is so much better than this one, dude. The beginning track, like the home menu theme, is better than every song of 2016 in my opinion, and I loved the songs of 2016. BFG Division still goes hard, and Rip and Tear, and then the menu theme, and then obviously the other ones I don't remember the name for. They're still dope, but At Eternal's Gate for Doom Eternal is really good, and it slaps. The whole soundtrack slaps. But yeah, Doom Eternal, I think it's my favorite game. I highly recommend it, man. I want to do more of these reviews down the future, even after quarantine's done. I'm really kind of looking forward to just doing more reviews. I think having a little bit of content in between our movie things, because I fucking love getting together with Sam and Ethan and doing a podcast. Despite sometimes having scheduling conflicts and being so busy, I know it can look like I'm like, and this is kind of being directed for towards Sam and Ethan, and audience as well. But sometimes it can look like I'm not committed. But I love this podcast. I just get so busy and overwhelmed with stuff, and filming the podcast is some of the most fun I have. So I really enjoy getting together as a group and discussing movies and stuff. But I think it's also nice to have this one-on-one where I can kind of just express some thoughts and kind of talk about a game I really enjoy. So I don't want to lose these reviews. I know this is the first one I've done, but sitting here in my little vocal booth doing it, I'm really enjoying it. So please follow us on the socials. Let us know, man. Do you enjoy these gaming reviews? If so, please give us a little rating on streaming services. Follow us on social media. Share, retweet the episode notification, the episode tweet, whatever. Share it. It would mean a lot, man. Did you enjoy Doom Eternal? Comment down below. What are some games you want me to review? I might make this a weekly Wednesday segment. Who knows? I can go back and play other games. My bad. I can go back and play other games and review them if you want. It doesn't have to be new games, but I'm definitely going to try to stay on top of the new releases. I don't think I'm playing RE3 Remake. That's just what I'm going to say. I might go, since so many things are getting delayed, I might go back and play it, but that'll be later down the line. I will say, though, next review is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Unless I play something in between beating it that I want to talk about, the next review will be Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was just playing it before I went to go record this review. So stay tuned for that. This has been a very long outro, but I really appreciate your support. I would appreciate it if you support us. But if not, man, I understand. I still love you. Hit up the Patreon. It'd mean a lot. Hit up some of the tiers so we can start doing some really cool shit. Get the studio kind of better equipped for podcasts. And yeah, let me know if you like the gaming reviews, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. So this has been your faithful leader, Brent the Slayer, coming at you. Have a nice day. I love you. Peace out.